All right. Welcome to another session. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. Part of that is my fault. Um, but we are back, and I have upped the ante here for our recap. So for those that have missed it in the chat, uh, I put in a message basically saying, on top of, or not on top of, in addition to, or like as a decision, you can now choose between a D4 inspiration or a reroll on a loot table if you do the recap. Now, of course, like before, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you may not end up using the loot table roll. But that's a decision that you may want to make, because you can get some pretty good loot. I've taken your feedback that you guys have provided, and I've incorporated them into some tables. So either this session or next session, depending on how things go, you may or may not be rolling on tables with your items partially, which is exciting.
So I've been keeping track of the past few times that I've done a recap and earned inspiration, and my inspiration usage rate is about 20%.
Yeah, I mean, you can use it, or you don't have to, but it does
Sometimes
die.
we just totally forget I've got it.
Yeah, that's my problem actually.
Totally fair. So yeah, with that, I mean, who would like to do our recap? It's been a little while, so this is definitely a well-earned inspiration or reroll.
I've got notes if nobody else wants to. I'm
I
always
have
willing.
notes, but they're not good.
I have a hard time believing your notes are bad, Tom.
Well, maybe I could imbibe them with something good, but I mean, it's a paragraph in a sentence. Like,
I feel like every time you recap, it's so thorough. I'm like, you have more information than I do, and I ran the session.
I don't suppose that earns me inspiration just for.
It does if you use it to do
past
the recap.
merits. Well, yeah.
Hallelujah.
I'll let Tony go if he's confident.
All right. So we woke up, or not woke up, sorry. We started last session in the cave where we battled the Medusa. And we head back up to where we left our horses. Iris was prepping to do some work on a replacement for Oro. She and Felix decide to try to use the Rod of Law. There we go. I said Raw of Laud. Rod of Law conjuration gemstone to infuse her creation with an extra bit of magical punch. Overnight, Iris uses nearby dragon bones to create a skeletal mechanical owlbear named Mori. Mori is intimidating, intelligent, and large enough for Felix to use as a mount. It seems that Mori could also one day learn to speak. So Mori is a new member of the party, replacing Oro. The party, now with an extra mount, begins their final push out of the spires. Along the way, they disguise their scent to avoid the circling rock. They lose their extra horse to a pit of mud, and they see carvings of two deities. I believe they were named Kukatoa and Vesh. I could be getting those names wrong.
It's
Ukatoa, but you're
yes.
close enough.
Oh,
Ukatoa.
Ukatoa, not Kukatoa. Okay,
Correct.
Yes, yes.
Ukatoa.
I like Kukatoa.
Hey, that could be your name. I'm okay with it. Make it your own.
After exiting the spires, the party heads to Deepwater. Along the way, Felix and Iris catch a frog that they must keep alive in order to harvest its goo, which they both want for different reasons. Iris wants to use it as yet another psychedelic drug, and Felix thinks that maybe he could use it as a poison. Felix puts it into a jar with air holes. Now in Deepwater, the party is testing the limits of Mori's conspicuousness, resorting to invisibility for lack of a better alternative. They have opted to stay in a brothel for the night that I believe is called Christoph's House of Delights or something of the sort.
Mm-hmm.
Felix and Iris are renting the Love Suite together, while Therathari and Jara enjoy clean rooms. While within the walls of the city, the party hopes to find a priest that they can trust at one of the local churches to help them offload the cursed scroll in Iris's possession. And I believe we have decided to go to the newer temple that has sections devoted to the 5 deities of this region.
Okay. As a bit of trivia, did you mention this god has a sort of an acclaimed deity? Did you write that one down?
Who has an acclaimed deity?
Deepwater has like the deity they've chosen as their primary.
Oh crap.
I did
Uh,
not get that.
is it Palor?
It is Palor. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
All right. So what are you choosing, Tony? Our first decision in the new system. What are you choosing today?
It's is it D2,
D4.
D4, or
A
just
re-
a reroll on the loot table? Hmm. It's hard to imagine us getting a loot table this session, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, if you just decide to, snoop behind some store.
Yeah.
funds, like,
The
Um.
D4 is mildly more reliable, but the variance that comes out of the reroll on the loot table can be really huge.
Yeah, I'll do the loot table. Let's try it out.
Hey!
Okay.
all has an opinion.
We start today's session by you guys finding a random chest.
I'm
All right.
okay with that.
Let me just ask. Last session, is that when we lost a horse to a mudslide?
Yes.
Okay.
We didn't have to relive that, Tom.
I was just wondering because it's the only detail I had that Tony didn't. And
I had
it
that.
started. Okay, I must have. Sorry.
It was like a fraction of a sentence.
Okay.
So, with that, kudos to anybody who gets this song. By the way. Anyway, I just was messing with the volume. All right, we pick up. I believe the plan is it is. You guys chose to, I believe, eat and then go see the priests potentially. There was some back and forth, if I'm not mistaken, on figuring out if you want to do that today or tomorrow. But I think you said both. So, porque no los dos? So yeah, you guys are finishing up your dinner slash I don't know, a little break from traveling. You've stabled your horses, checked out your lodging for the evening, and are headed over to the new temple. So I believe I mentioned there are 5, obviously, deities in Tura. This is another bit of trivia. Does anybody remember the official sanctioned deities?
Ah, fuck.
You know one, it's Palor.
Yeah, there's Palor.
I think
know
the
there's
Raven Queen
the
was up
Raven
there.
Queen.
Okay.
Bill and the Raven Queen were up there.
That's 2.
Isn't there like a combat or war or something? based
Horde?
on-
Horde is not.
Court is not on there.
Ayun, is that the
Nope.
knowledge one? No.
I don't. I think isn't Serenray specific to Wild now, doesn't it? Or is she
Nope.
here?
But you got the Serenrays here as
Serenray's
well.
here. Okay.
That's 3.
And then the other ones I can think of are Melora and Arathis, but I don't know if they're
Arathis
on
is,
the
and
list.
Helm is the 5th.
Helm.
That's the
Okay,
one I was
got it.
thinking of.
Not Cord. Helm.
Yes.
What
Got
does
it, got it,
Helm care?
Helm is like the god of protection.
All right.
He is on the wiki.
All right.
If you'd like to look, let me paste it. I always plug my wiki.
I feel like
Shameless plug.
is Helm like northeast in the continent? Like that's the region? I don't know why that.
Helm
Comes to
is
mind.
primarily worshipped in Atura. It is a quote unquote newer god in terms of the sanctioned religions, and it is the most prominent and quote unquote powerful religion in Tura.
Okay.
It's kind of like the new wave of Christianity, you know? When that comes, the Roman Empire switches, blah, blah, blah. It's like kind of like that. It's like new and everybody's switching to it. They have the coolest religious ceremonies. I don't know.
Bunch of bandwagon
It's
fans.
trendy.
It's trendy, you know? All right. Okay, enough trivia. I'll let you guys actually play now. So, in order here, obviously we said Palor. So Palor is here. This one here. This is Helm. H. This one is the Matron of Ravens. This is Sarenrae. And this is Arathis. And they actually follow the exact same in the fountain center. Same order. Where would you guys like to go first? I guess I should describe maybe the buildings a little bit, but I think I'll do that as you guys go around them. Before actually maybe we even get to the religious campus, what you see where you are located in this red dot over here. Sorry, you're over here. Let me erase this guy. Because you chose the seedier joint. Do you want to do anything while you're on your way? It's maybe mid-evening now.
Tony, you forgot that you and Iris and Maury are in a stripper pole.
No, he said
Oh,
that.
we got that. We
You
got
said
it.
that?
Of course. You can't miss that part.
Maury's
down.
hiding under the bearskin rug.
Yeah, they got the love room.
Yeah. No, I think we said we were gonna try to say that we knew of some evil artifact, but not reveal that we had one. Right? Is that still the plan?
I think that's
Yeah.
the plan. It sounds
I
familiar.
think so. I think we go in, say, asking about how they would handle it. What would they do? Are they prepared? Kind of figure it
Right.
out.
Is there a deity that we think would be best equipped for this?
Would imagine you probably just need raw power, right? So maybe we go with the biggest temple and not have the most people on hand. But I mean, if we don't like them, we can just move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think Helm might be good for this. The god of protection.
Sure.
That seems like kind of what we need.
Okay. So are you guys... So you're just going straight there. That's the idea?
I think so.
Is it the rest of? Is the way there residential? Does it seem on the map?
This section over here, these quarters, these are kind of the upper class of Deepwater. So it is residential. There's some artisan kind of nice businesses, but it's mainly for the upper crust of the city.
Yeah, probably straight there then.
Okay. All right. So as you guys are walking, I think I mentioned this place has normal luminous soldiers. There are higher volumes than you've seen in some of the previous places you've stopped at. Of course, in the Spires, there were none. But even before that, in Answood, this is a pretty heavily guarded area. One thing to note, too, you are traveling further south in the continent. So the weather does get warmer. You're not quite at that Florida tropical weather, but you are approaching it. So you're kind of in the, the North Carolina kind of northern, southern part. That makes sense. So you can expect, on average, definitely warmer than Tura. So with that being said, you can see now the guards are outfitted with sort of these, not necessarily full suits of armor. A lot of it is augmented with chainmail, kind of lighter, not necessarily, you still have your heavy guard, but the average guard here is kitted out with a lot less heavy armor and more of this moderate middle ground to light armor. You do see the fashion is reflective of that as well. Less leather and fur and stuff like that, and more silk, kind of satin, nice cloth-based garb. And the people here are, on average, a little bit tanner than your usual Turin, pale-skinned, not very much, out in the sun necessarily. But nevertheless, a lot of the architecture is identical to what you've seen. I think also I mentioned last session, one peculiarity of Deepwater is its walkways, its streets. even outside of its streets, are stone, cut stone, which is kind of peculiar. Not even Tura has that fully in the city. But even in the lower parts of the city here, or the town, there are stone paths. Very little grass. In fact,
So it's
grass.
clearly a very rich
Yes,
city.
it is. And as you get towards the center, which is kind of like the focal point of Deepwater, you also get the vibe that they spared no expense when building these new buildings. The center domes here, or the domes in the center over, like, around this large fountain, they're constructed very well, made of very shiny, polished metals. The shrubbery around them, the landscaping is beautiful. It is also heavily guarded. And of course, that centerpiece there, the fountain with the statue of Palor, is large, gaudy, a show of wealth for sure, presence of wealth. They even put miniature walls around it. And then, of course, the new bastion here, the new beacon of wealth, is the new religious complex that they've created. The temple to Palor specifically has a beautiful, solid golden dome with a large sun kind of statue, similarly made of gold, that reflects the light, especially in the evening now when the sun is starting to set. The accompanying buildings also have solid gold features, of course, less in status and size, but still made of marble, beautifully painted and sculpted, architectural features. It's really beautiful, and it's quite peculiar that this kind of place yields this kind of wealth. From what you gather, the walkway, the shows of wealth, this is a very old part of the continent. Maybe even predates the founding of Tura. All right. With that said, anything you guys would like to do or say or roleplay while on the way, or do you want to jump to your first building?
Who's taking the lead on this?
I guess I can.
You're a worldly man.
I have traveled a lot, so I'm pretty good with folks.
All right.
I've never been this far south before.
Me neither, but I just, I've been all over this continent, so figure that might help a little bit.
The religions aren't my specialty, so I'll let you handle it.
We can follow your lead then.
All right. So as you get to the outside of this complex, you can see there are checkpoints. There is an strict ingress and egress point. This way is in, and this way is out. And you have to, basically, there are guard stationed. You can think of this as the equivalent of a gated community, but for this religious complex. So there is a guard stationed at all times, and you have to sign in. All of you. So you approach this stand. There's a little bit of a line, but it's obviously moving. And there are two luminous soldiers, one holding a clipboard and the other kind of with a shield and spear, a short sword on his side. And they seem to be talking to people and handing out, in exchange for a signature, some sort of voucher or like ticket. And on the opposite side, they are collecting on this side.
It's like parking tickets.
Yeah, basically. It's a way they can kind of figure out who's going in and out. And then you also see shortly after, there's sort of this second layer of protection. So here's like the checkpoint. Back here, they also inspect your ticket. They do a little bit of a pat down. And there are more heavily armed soldiers and like hound dogs. More of a show of power.
Oh.
So-
Were we allowed to bring weapons here?
Well, I guess we'll find out. Maybe there's I see tickets. Maybe there's some sort of valet.
Iris is gonna start putting her weaponry into her bag of holding.
Not so fast. You got an evil scroll in there.
All right, yeah.
You can put it in mine.
Okay.
Okay, as you guys are frantically putting your weaponry away in Bag of
This
holding.
is why it pays to only use spells. I have no weapons on me.
I am the weapon.
I am
Yeah.
the weapon.
Right
These
here.
right here.
I
These
am
are
the
the
Mandarin.
deadly registered as deadly weapons.
So you're
Uh,
going to have to leave those with us.
You have to check your hands at the door, please.
I'm gonna have to cuff you. Okay, yeah, so you guys approach. Eventually, you approach the guy with the clipboard. He says to you, "Good evening. Welcome to the city. We ask that you guys check with us, sign your names, and we'll give you sort of a ticket allowing you to walk between the buildings. I will remind you, we do close in about 2 hours. So we will be ensuring everyone has left after the 2 hours have passed. And feel free at any time to make any donations. All of them go to what you see before you. Keeping the grounds, keeping things straight, architecture in check, and of course, serving the community in any religious capacity. So,
What's the heightened security for?
oh, this is not heightened. This is kind of normal. I understand you guys may be new. If you want a guided tour, we do have those. I believe tomorrow is our first open slot around 10 a.m. But basically, just want to keep the trouble out and the good in. So, you guys seem like a good lot. We can trust you. Feel free. You don't have to check any weapons or anything. We just ask you, keep them on you. Remain respectful. But we do need signatures from you all, and we'll hand you out tickets in exchange.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Got any questions for
All
us?
right,
or-
open carry.
All right, and he'll hand around the clipboard. One thing you do see before you sign anything, there is a third person who is walking up and down the line occasionally, and you can sense, for those that are magically inclined, around them is an aura of truth.
Curious.
So keep in mind.
So what does that mean as far as what we are allowed to write?
There's no like, what's it called? There's no like prohibiting of writing down lies. It's more of like, actually, isn't it written as like you are incapable of lying?
No, it's not that you're incapable of lying. Well, I guess. Let me look it up. On a failed save, a creature can't speak
Yes,
a deliberate
that's
lie
exactly
while
what
in
I
the
thought.
radius.
So you can
Writing, I
definitely-
guess, is
Yeah, writing or any other form of communication that isn't speaking technically does not fall under purview here. It is zone of truth. So you can write a false name if you'd like, but if asked what your name is and it doesn't match the ticket, you may be in trouble.
I mean, I wasn't planning on lying anyway.
But totally up to you guys how you want to roll it.
Cool.
All right, so I guess since I'm first, I have the clipboard. Is it just first names, last names? What kind of information are they expecting here?
Just first name, last name.
Okay, yeah, I'll put my first name, last name down.
Okay. You are handed a ticket that says Jar Lockwood. And he ushers you kind of through to the next checkpoint to be like searched to make sure you're not carrying anything crazy and flip through. Who's next?
When I get the, I don't know if I'm next, but when I get it, I'd like to write Fred Figglehorn.
Sure.
But then I'd like to tap it and like make it say Felix Fizzlebang, so that what's written there is not my name, but it appears as if I've written my name.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check.
Okay.
God. I had to remember why that name itched the spot in my brain, and now I wish I could bleach my eyes.
11.
All right. Your name goes down, Felix Fizzlebang. Except that's not what it appears to be written as.
Oh no.
Well, you said what was the Fred what?
No, I want to write a fake name, but make it appear as my real name. Just basically so that later I can like dispel that and there's no record of me having been here.
Ah, okay. So, do you want your ticket to say Felix Whistlebank or?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Well, he failed to check, so you do that successfully. You execute it successfully. It is very close, I will add, but you do execute it successfully. And you are given a voucher or a ticket with your name on it. Okay, who is next? I guess if you guys are going with your true names, we can kind of zip through this. But if you are planning to change,
Iris doesn't really have a last name, so she'll just write Iris and go.
sure.
Yeah,
Right.
no trickery here.
Okay. Honest folks, mostly. All right, so you guys make it to the next checkpoint. The Hound Dog kind of gives you a once over. They do a light check, very light, and you guys are sent through. You can see there are clusters of people, groups that are walking around. You can see the tourist-like people kind of oohing and awing at the architecture. Obviously not taking photos, but chatting and looking at things, reading signs and plaques, etc. One thing you notice, the roadways here, the major ones, are named. So I'll draw them in different colors. And these are named after what you presume... That's not right. What you presume to be donors. As every religious institution has many of. Okay. So the first one, the blue one, is Thermore Lane. That's the blue one. Okay. And then, well, I guess you haven't gone anywhere else. That's all you see so far.
So is it like, do we have to flow like counterclockwise?
No.
Or can we just...
It's free for all. You're not on a guided
Okay.
tour. It's not super packed. You guys can go wherever you please.
All right, then I guess we go straight towards the temple.
You're going to Paylor's first, or what?
No, we're going to Temple of Helm, right? So we want to go first.
Helm, I think, makes the most sense for what we're looking for, but I think you might be right that Paylor probably has the most powerful priest. So.
Well, I guess we're kind of feeling them out, so that we can start with Paylor and then go to Helm afterwards, and then
Yeah,
maybe
I'd
come
like
back.
to. I mean, if we have the time, we could talk to them all. But
Yeah,
I guess
well,
only if we don't get good vibes from someone.
I don't know if we can have time to talk to them all, but that's all right. All right, we'll start with Paylor, and then we'll go right to Helm right afterwards, and then we'll see how we feel.
Yeah.
Okay. So you enter onto the steps of Paylor's temple, and you can see out front there are these large columns, intricately carved designs, not like floral, but flowy and kind of amorphous, abstract designs on the columns. You can see out front, sort of center platform here in green, is a large statue of a sun with beams kind of out. This statue is made of marble. There's a plaque underneath accrediting an artist, time it was created, and things like that. But the doorways in front of you, there are two enormous wooden doorways, and on either side of them are large panes of stained glass. The stained glass has a very familiar, common, biblical scene, we'll call it, of Paylor. It's him parting the clouds, and the sun is shining through in these beams across a farmland in one scene. And then in the next scene, a beautiful, lush field of wheat and crop with the sun shining high in the sky with no clouds. Kind of the saying that Paylor gifted onto man the gift of farming. That kind of thing. Nevertheless, you guys walk on through the open doors and enter into a humongous sanctuary. Before you, on either side, right or left, are dozens of rows of pews. There's a second tier and even a third tier of these pews. A large center platform that kind of extends the width of the building, raised by 5 or 6 steps. There is a large kind of altar in the center, seating for the priests and priestesses back here, and a beautifully positioned, one of the depictions of Paylor every depiction of Palor that is humanoid in shape has no face, a featureless face, which is interesting, and a single kind of band cloth around the eyes. And then these are all stained glass windows kind of around this semicircle. The ceiling is high arcing. It's basically just, it follows the shape of the roof. So very high ceilings, large echo. And the place is pretty busy. Not worshiping, but people kind of looking around, looking at the inscriptions, the plaques. And, oh, I should also mention, the floor here is a white marble with these really bright kind of gold blotches that sparkle and kind of glow faintly, reminiscent of like the sun, kind of. But that's it. The priest is nowhere in sight at the moment, but there are large groups of people that you can kind of walk through. What would you guys like to do?
I guess we want to find a priest. So if there's none present, I guess just kind of wander around and kind of keep our eyes out till we see one.
You can find one of like the other helping staff, not the priest. I'm not sure.
Sure. Yeah. Then anyone on staff.
Sure. You can get one of the. I mean, I didn't go to any religious school, but what's the name for people that do that? That like help.
I
They're
guess
not
it
like
depends on the
nuns.
religion, Jared.
Nevertheless, you find somebody who's working there, not the priest, but is part of this institution. Okay. You approach. It is a young woman, maybe in her early 20s. She has brown hair, kind of curled or braided, that kind of goes back into ponytail, and she wears the colors of Palor, which are green and gold. And you guys approach. She's just finished helping another group of people. Kind of gives you a warm smile. What do you say?
Hi. We have some questions about dealing with what we believe like cursed or nefarious objects. Do you know who we might be able to speak to about that?
You have them in your possession now?
No, not at the moment. We're just wondering kind of how you guys would deal with them and what to do if we ever came across it. We're a new like adventuring party. We've been going into some kind of weird places recently, and we want to, just some help making sure we know how to handle these things if we come across any.
And this accursed book, it's tough to say without knowing the curse that's put on it, where that kind of falls in terms of the deity spectrum. Do you have... This is a strictly precautionary discussion, correct?
Yeah.
Let me find... You guys are... Let me find Father Preston, and we'll see what he can do for you. Just stay here. There is a... You can tell she's reading you. Not to the point where you need to roll yet, but it's getting there.
Okay.
But she disappears for some time. You guys are kind of left alone. Do you want to wander or do anything until she comes back, or are you going to stay put?
Did Therathari recognize that suspicion?
Absolutely, yeah. It was pretty apparent.
Jar's just going to play cool, guys. It's all right. We're fine.
Okay. She returns and she says, "The father will see you if you would follow me."
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. You guys are led into. So the direct path you would go is you would go here, and then this area here, and also this area here. It's symmetrical. Are staircases up, and then on the 4th floor, you will walk all the way back. And on the 4th floor, there are offices in this rectangle part here. A lot of drawing, but nevertheless, you are brought there. Into a large room. There's enough room for like a full couch, like sofa situation, a coffee table, even some auxiliary lamp, like tables with lamps and chairs next to it. The walls are covered in large or tall bookshelves that are stacked high with all kinds of books, religious and otherwise, historical, even scientific, some of them. There is a large oak desk with an old man pushing probably early 80s, mid 80s, who is draped in the gold and green sort of robes, has on a kind of green, like cone-shaped hat, a cane with him, and he's sat in a chair. You can see he's in the middle of eating some kind of dinner. But you guys are ushered in to sit wherever you'd like. The young lady who brought you there leaves the room. The door closes, and you are there kind of in silence for a moment as he looks around, gives a smile. I was told you have some inquiries that may necessitate my advice. I invite you to speak freely and share your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you. First, I just want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you. Sorry for interrupting your meal. We hope we don't cause too much of a hindrance. We're just wondering. So we're a new adventuring party, and we're planning on going into some old, ruin type places. And we're just kind of looking for information on, like, if we come across some sort of cursed object, what do we do with it? Like, can we bring it to you guys? How would you handle it? How should we handle it? How do we even identify it? That just kind of like things of that nature.
Lots of questions there.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Let's take them one by one. So, hypothetically, if you were to come across a cursed object, the first thing you should determine is what type of curse is this object, or is on this object, because some curses are transferable, meaning their energy is so malignant and dangerous that it could rub off on those around it, especially forces of good. And he looks at you specifically, Therathari, as kind of maybe the strongest moral compass in the group. He kind of senses that, a holy man. But
Holy man, indeed. Holy half man.
that would be the first thing. It's sort of like a religious triage, if you will. And once that's ascertained, once the type of curse is figured out, depending on that curse, there are recommended steps to follow. Kind of the stop, drop, and roll, if you will, of the religious world. Do you have any, speculative insights as to what kind of curses you may face, so I can better answer your question?
Yeah, so like hypothetically speaking, if you found like an object that seems to like corrupt the space around it, and if you're like not an evil person, you touch it, like you might die. What kind of curse do you think that is? Hypothetically
Hey, here
speaking,
are
of
very
course.
specific questions.
It's a hypothetical. I heard rumors. I'm worried. We're a very, anxious bunch here.
Well, I'm glad that you're seeking answers beforehand.
The
worst thing-
My father always said the best offense is a smart defense. So we're just trying to get all the information we can.
Your father is a wise man. I think it would be incredibly dangerous to handle such a thing before understanding and asking these questions. So I commend your quizzical nature on these subjects.
Really quick question. When you say handle, do you mean physically handle, or like if I mage hand move it around kind of thing?
Hypothetically speaking, depending on this curse, it may not matter. But the good news is it hasn't happened yet, and it's
Right.
hypothetical.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, please forgive our friend. He's very detail oriented.
I think this is a good path to go down before doing anything like this. So
I agree.
good
100%.
on you.
And hypothetically, if we were to find something like this and bring it here, would you be equipped to handle such a thing?
Frankly, no. I would be very careful, hypothetically speaking, giving this type of cursed object to anyone you don't trust and you don't believe has the purity to deal with. Now, I consider myself a pious man. I followed the path Palor has put forward. I'm very religious, obviously. I run the largest temple in the city. And even I feel wary and not pure enough to deal with such a thing. There are special monks. I'm not sure how religious you are or who you choose to follow. That is your business. However, there are monks that exist. And I'll pull up the map for you guys. We're going the full map here, baby. Ignore the drawings.
It's been a while since we've seen the big
It
map.
has been a while.
Yeah, I know, right?
There are very few monks who are capable, and they are monks because they dedicate their lives to their deity. Now, I want to reiterate the deity here isn't necessarily important. Just the purity of spirit, of mind, and the connection with said deity. Obviously, you want one to counter the deity who's cursed this object, so I presume, hypothetically, this has been cursed by a deity of chaos.
Right.
So I would definitely target deity of order, which I'm glad you came here because we do believe in deities of order. So a good step on the hypothetical path here. But these monks tend to live in remote areas and devote their lives to their deities. Specifically, I know the Utspire Mountains have a few of them. They are much further north than where we are now. But there are some in the south. The Guanjay Mountains have a few alcoves of these monks. They are quite difficult and arduous to get to. But if such a an object falls into your possession, hypothetically, at any point, I would try my best to contain the dark energies and transport it to one of these locations. If you trust another individual to do that for you, so be it. But when we start talking about corruption of surrounding areas, surrounding energies,
Yeah,
we're
like
talking
pocket dimensions.
hypothetically, sure.
Right.
Actually, if you had something of this power, I think the last thing you'd want to do is put it in a pocket dimension for any any amount of time, because it will amplify, kind of feedback loop the negative energy.
Oh, all right. Well, we can circle back. I have, I guess, two questions to follow up here. You know the game like Boulder, Parchment Shears. Is there like a deity kind of like, let's say if the deity Chaos, I'm gonna pick one at a random, like Tharizdun, for example. Is there like
Sure.
is there a specific deity that like trumps Tharizdun? Like, how Boulder trumps Shears?
That is an apt analogy. Kudos to you. Yes, there are certain deities who have opposed each other, specifically in the Great Reckonings, that with little to no persuasion will jump on your cause to help defeat or thwart some force on the opposite side, specifically from another deity that they rival. Now, if we were to take Tharizdun here, by hypothetically speaking, the word of the
Right.
day, Ioun specifically is the sort of opposite antithesis of Tharizdun, and an arch nemesis. They are rivals. So, if you were to go with Tharizdun, if you were to be so lucky as to find the exact artifact belonging to Tharizdun that fits your description, hypothetically speaking, Ioun would be the one to go to if you wanted the easiest path forward in fixing this problem.
All right.
I just really want to make it clear, I don't recommend doing this yourself. And you've done the right thing by seeking the advice of some religious professional. But if you were to come across something like this, and you choose to do the moral thing and take it with you somewhere, probably don't do anything yourself.
Right. Oh, and that brings me to my second question. So you said don't put it in a pocket dimension. How would
Yes.
you recommend transporting the object?
There are certain magic resistant materials that you can buy. They are used to transport any sort of magical artifact, object, good or evil aligned, and it's kind of like a quote unquote lead casing. Protects it from the outside world and the outside world from it.
Is that like something we could purchase in town, or are there like specialty vendors for that?
There are specialty vendors, but you do happen to be very lucky in stumbling into one of the few places in Tura that have an enchanter, really an enchantress, who may be able to help you. She has done many works for the temple and the temples around in the complex. And her name is Zema. Zeema. She has a shop over in the Gold Light District. On the map, just to cut to the chase, the Gold Light District is here. In green up top left. I don't know if she's open now, but I know she's a very busy woman. She gets contracted constantly. But for a hypothetical situation like this, with a dire outcome, if not done correctly, I think she would be able to help you. Hypothetically.
All right, and then once it's in that box, can it then go back into the pocket dimension, or does it always need to stay out?
I suppose it wouldn't matter at that point.
Okay, just as long as it's in the box.
Yes, I would say though it's probably better to keep an eye on these
Right.
things.
Understood.
I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there are certain dark entities that are attracted to these sources of dark power.
Yeah,
and
would you say they communicate like through fire and flames, things like that?
Oftentimes, yes.
Interesting.
Theoretically, yes. But I will also say they can transcend sometimes planes and dimensions. So keeping an eye on such an object would probably do you good.
All right, that makes sense. So they could like sneak into the pocket dimension and steal it from under our nose, kind of thing.
Theoretically.
Right, theoretically. This is all theoretical. I'm just,
Okay.
And just one last question, unless anyone else has anything. If theoretically this thing was in a pocket dimension that then entered another pocket dimension.
Oh, that's in any way, even without any pocket dimension in another pocket dimension forms a singularity.
But what would happen to the artifact if it was part of that?
There's scientific studies that go on even to this day. No one knows what happens in that singularity. Some people think it goes out somewhere else. Some people think it's the end of time. It means nothing. Nobody knows.
all right, so you wouldn't recommend that approach, I guess.
Okay.
Theoretically, no. I would recommend taking it to a trained professional who can mitigate the negative energies.
But maybe
It's
as like a last resort kind of thing? Like
I
all
don't
sales?
want to condone that action. Yes or
okay,
no?
not at all. All right, got it. Understood.
Sure.
All right, well, I think that covers all the questions that we had. I want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. You've been very informative. I feel fully prepared to hopefully never run into this situation, but if I do, I know exactly what to do. Or
Good
not
on
do,
you.
I guess, rather.
Good on you for doing this as a preemptive measure. Not many adventuring parties are responsible enough to do so.
Well, just trying to do my best to make the world a better place, and just want to be prepared.
Yeah, we're just getting started. We want to make sure we're doing it right.
It's that this we have, haven't even really set out far.
Oh, the strongest ability of any man or woman is knowledge.
100%. Knowledge is power.
All right. Well, if you find yourselves in any other hypothetical situation, I will be here, as well as any of the other temples that you wish to choose. If you are feeling so inclined, feel free to make a donation before you leave. We have bins placed near the front
Yeah,
entrance.
you know what? You've been so helpful. I absolutely will do that.
We thank you. The church thanks you. Paylor thanks you. And have a splendid evening.
Right, you as well.
Felix will toss 2 silver in because he has a spare 2 silver.
Okay. When you leave, he says to you before you leave, if you don't mind, can you just send Claire back in? I just want to have a word.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, and enjoy the day.
Jara's gonna donate a gold.
And Therathari has 7 silver.
All right.
Also, what was the father's name?
Preston.
Preston, yeah. All right, we'll send the woman back in too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll drop a gold in there too.
All right, I think that went pretty swimmingly, guys.
Yeah, well, lucky he has a good imagination.
Right. So I think our next stop is to maybe head over to Zima's shop that he mentioned, right?
Yeah. Also.
And
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
if Zima isn't open,
Then
The
we'll
shop.
go to her tomorrow, I guess.
Or we'll go to her house. We'll find her.
Yeah.
right. Well, in the meantime, we have a whispering now. A pocket dimension with a thing in it.
I know, we have a feedback loop. It's not good.
Jared, when we send Claire back in, is there anyone out in the hall with us?
There are definitely guard that patrol, but no one in earshot at the moment.
Okay, I'd like to put my ear up to the door and see if I can listen to what they're talking about in there.
Make a perception check.
12.
Okay. You hear bits and pieces of what's going on. You hear Claire go in and say, "Yes, Father." There's a period of, and then you hear the father say something along the lines of, "I saw their name cards. Just make sure we have somebody near them in case something happens." And there's some more, and then the last part, the gist of this conversation is while you're on the grounds here of this compound,
We're going to be heavily watched.
You're
yeah.
going to be
Oh
shadowed
yeah.
by
Absolutely.
by people.
Right. Okay.
Oh, of course. Of course.
That makes sense. That's fair.
That's totally fine because we're going to be leaving right away, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Okay.
And then if we're really just heading out, then before we leave, I'd like to just get the names of the other 2 roads.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. This
Well,
green.
all right, what we should do to mess with them is everyone break. We go in a different direction, and we
Everybody scatter.
We just scatter right after this. We step outside.
We all go
we'll
to a
get
different building.
No, I'm just kidding.
This green one is Phoenix, Fenyx, Phoenix Road, and then the red one is Julius Road.
Okay. Phoenix, Julius, and the blue one was what?
Thermore.
Thermore. Okay.
Okay. You guys are heading out. You're just going straight out the exit gate. No other parts of the campus.
Nope.
Alrighty.
I think we have a pretty clear.
I think it's safe to say there's some haste in your step
Yep.
now that you
Yeah.
have a demonic battery charging in your bag of holding.
Yeah, just demonic entities speaking to us through fire.
Yeah, no big deal.
Hypothetically, through fire.
Hypothetically, if one was to speak to us, it would be through fire.
Most likely, that is their favorite medium. All right, you guys head out. Where are you going?
To
the shop.
find Zima's shop.
All right, without much hassle, because she is so esteemed here. Zima's shop is this sort of building collection here, these two buildings. It is very large. It is currently closed. There's a closed sign, but you do see through the front windows, which are large, there's a light source emanating from a door that's open towards the back, presumably some kind of office. And you can press your ear up to the glass and hear, people or a person potentially in there doing something. If you choose to push
I'm
the
gonna
envelope.
knock. Yeah, I'm gonna push the envelope.
Okay, you knock. No answer. You see disturbances in the beams of light that kind of shoot out. At this point, the sun is set. It is nighttime for sure. Probably around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And you can see disturbances in these beams of light as though a person or something is disturbing them. You knock again. Still no answer.
I'm gonna knock again.
Okay. Third knock. There is a brief pause in the commotion inside, and you hear two voices, very low, kind of murmured. One of them says, "That's a knock. You heard that, right?" The other one says, "Yeah. Why don't you go check it out?" And out comes a half-elven lady. She's wearing a purple dress. She currently has her hair kind of bundled up, haphazardly almost. You can see she's removing some kind of gloves from her hands as she's walking out, throws them in the trash. On her shirt, or over her dress, she wears an apron that's covered in all sorts of like greens and purples and reds, weird splotches of color and streaks and glittery sort of substances. And then she kind of unties as she's walking, places it over at her desk as she's walking out towards the front. In her main floor, you can see it's pretty void of anything. It's almost like those really fancy purse stores where it's 98% open floor and then these columns of random purses. In this case, they're random artifacts or items in display cases. No shelving, nothing. Just one of those futuristic, quote unquote, uppity stores. She approaches, sees you through the glass doors, and she turns back. You can kind of gather she's saying something along the lines of, "Yeah, I think we got some more people here. I'll send them away. Give me a sec." She'll walk up. Door kind of swings open. It's a pull-in door. She sticks her head out. "Hi, we're closed. Did you need to pick up something?"
I'm sorry. Father Preston sent us here on some urgent business. I know it's late, and I know you guys are closed, and I'm really sorry for the disturbance, but we really have something urgent to speak with Zima about.
Okay, I'm Zima. Father Preston sent you. Usually he's better about warning me these things.
Yeah, we just got out of speaking with him. We kind of have one of those classic cursed items in the pocket dimension feedback loop situations that we need resolved.
Right,
Yeah,
presently?
and Father Preston more hypothetically sent us than he actually told us to come here right now.
Oh dear. Where's the pocket dimension?
Iris is gonna wave and pop open her chest cavity.
Oh no! Close it, please.
Oh, okay.
You are the pocket dimension?
Yes, I'm Iris.
There's a look of this is every decision that was made to this point, and you can see it on her face. It's just she thinks it's the dumbest, stupidest possible decision.
We're completely with you there. That's why we're trying to get this rectified as soon as possible.
All right. How long have you had this in your person?
Well, we've actually transferred it from one pocket dimension to the other because we noticed it was kind of getting bad in one dimension.
Okay, come in, please.
We're in there.
She shuts the door immediately, and then she kind of snaps both fingers, and curtains cover all glass panes in her shop. She says, "Honey, we're gonna need the clean room. Can you start clearing it out, please? You hear a guy kind of answer back. What? Please. Just, please. He peeks his head out from the side. You can see another half-elven man, similar in age. Got his hair kind of combed to one side. Short hair. Pretty sharp features. Pretty handsome guy. He looks at his wife, who you presume to be wife, Zima, and there's like this stern look that they kind of send back and forth. They're saying so many things without saying a single thing. And he immediately goes back and you can hear things clinging. Okay. I need everyone. What's your name? And she looks at you, Iris.
Name is Iris.
Okay, Iris. We're going to try and fix the situation without you collapsing into a pile of rubble. Why don't you step to the far corner of my shop and everyone else stand in the opposite corner?
Oh, okay.
Hastily, let's go. Come on.
We're going.
We're moving.
All right. She pushes some of the like single display cases that are there like away from you, Iris, into like one side of the shop. So if you can imagine, I'll just draw like we'll call it a rectangle, even though it's a little more complicated than that. So Iris is here. And then everyone else is here. And then there's a back room that's adjoined here. It kind of extends here. The doorway is here. And you hear the ruckus in this room. Okay. I need everyone to just... Let's bring it down. Meanwhile, she's sweating profusely.
Jara looks very calm. Just like,
I need one of you to tell me everything that has happened since you've come into contact with this item. Who has touched it? For how long? Where it has been? Where you retrieved it? What you know about it? Please.
Sure. I guess I'll start with no one's touched it directly. We've only transferred it via Mage Hand.
Thank God.
We
You're not
did,
complete idiots.
No,
offense.
we kind of did an Arcana check on it and found that if we were an evil, we would kind of die. So we didn't want to touch it.
Okay.
So I don't know how familiar you are with Oldwood.
Is that...
All right. Well, it's an abandoned city. Basically, what happened is apparently some champion of Tharizdun, Golgoroth, he corrupted the place, and we went in there, we cleaned it out, and then we ended up finding this scroll, presumably one of the relics of Tharizdun that we didn't want to just leave in that place, so we kind of mage-handed it into, I believe, Felix, we used your bag of holding first.
Right.
And then after a few days, we noticed that it got really corrupted.
Whoa. This is important. Let's not skip these details. You mage-handed it into a bag of holding,
Correct.
separate from Iris. Okay. And it was in there for how long?
Probably a couple days. We've been going back and forth every couple days.
Let's ballpark it. I need a length here. It matters. 1
Like
day,
2 days.
2 days, 2 days, and then.
Well, how long was our trip through the Spire? How many days did that take, Jared?
It's about
I
2.5.
think like 3, yeah.
3, yeah.
All right, yeah. So about like 2.
Between 2 and 3 days. Definitely like one of the two.
And then we took it out.
Okay.
And then so Iris
Mage-handed, right?
Mage-handed.
Okay.
No physical touching.
Okay.
Iris's chest there is another bag of holding. So we transferred into that one, and it's been there for again about another 2 days in that one.
Have you noticed any long-term or short-term corruption of your bag of holding, Phoenix?
I think she's talking to you, Felix.
Oh.
Felix.
Oh, yeah, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, there was some corruption, but just vaguely. I don't think anything specific happened. It didn't start biting me or anything.
Do you have items that have been corrupted that you can share?
No, we did before doing the transfers. We would empty the bags.
Oh, doesn't Iris have a couple of things in there that are kind of warped and looking weird?
Iris might have some, but I think we emptied Felix's bag first.
Yeah, I've been emptying it each time. Whenever it's been in there, it's been the only thing in there.
Iris kind of pulls out a heavy crossbow that's
Oh, no.
been
Close.
gnarled.
Close.
Okay.
Back in. Close it up. Do me a favor, Eyelace. Don't touch anything in there. Cool?
Okay.
All right. Next. Okay. Barristan. It's a scroll, you said. Heavily
Right.
cursed. Have any of you
Right.
been having nightmares? Have you been communicated to through any medium, usually involving fire, by any deities, calling your name, whispering sweet nothings, anything?
We did have our campfire yell at us last night.
Yes.
Be more specific. Yell at you.
I think we were transferring this. I don't know why did we take the scroll out again? I forget.
It was time to make the swap.
Yeah, maybe it's like we're making the swap, and when we took it out, our fire yelled "you" at us, and then that was it.
Oh. Preston is going to owe me for this one. Okay. You want the good news or the bad news?
Start with the bad news, I think.
Okay. The bad news is, I think your buddy Oris,
You're getting
Iris.
close.
Iris. I think your buddy Iris there is going to have to lose her bag of holding.
That's okay. I can make a new one.
Sure. But that's probably what's going to
Alright.
happen. There's about a 15% chance that Iris
Yeah, you got it.
dies during this procedure.
Well, that's less than
Like,
ideal.
just gone.
All right. Well, I would like to avoid that if possible.
Okay. The good news is, if it works, Iris will be fine, as though nothing happened. And the scroll will be contained within a magical shield that you can then use to transport. Although, with all due respect, I know we've just met. I don't trust you guys to walk and chew gum at the same time. So I think I will take possession of this item.
I mean, we're much more capable than you think. It's
Yeah.
just that we were way. I agree with you. We were way out of our league when we encountered this item, but we knew we couldn't leave it there, and we didn't know who we could trust with it. So we're like, well, we're not evil people, so better we hold on to it than like some Joe Schmo, ends the world with it.
Again,
Right. I think our ignorance is our
decision.
biggest strength here because we're not tempted by it.
I think that is a way of looking at it. Absolutely. Totally.
I mean, we're headed to the Guanji Mountains anyway, so we heard from Preston that there's some monks there that could potentially help us.
There are monks there. We'll discuss who gets the scroll when this is said and done. I just really want to make sure this thing ends up in the right place.
We're 100% on the same page there.
Great.
I
All right.
absolutely want this item destroyed.
Okay. What's your name?
My name?
Yes.
I'm Jared. Nice to meet you.
Okay, Jara. All right. The other part of the good news is if, and this is an if, it goes exceedingly well, the chances of you being marked by any demonic deity as a potential target will be low, almost zero. But you've
Alright,
had this in
zero.
your possession for quite some time, and there are cross-planar and dimensional deities, or not deities, beings that feast on these batteries of demonic energy and will basically stop at nothing to feed on it and those around it. So there could be a chance one day you wake up and you are having your soul ripped from your body as well as all your memories completely void. But I think if I do this right, it'll be pretty low.
It's okay
Alright.
because I already live with that fear, so we're fine.
Phoenix, you're scaring me, buddy, but okay. Sure. All right. Any questions?
What do you need from us? What do you need? What should we
Yeah.
just stand here and let you do your thing?
That would be ideal, and please don't touch it.
Happy to assist in any way possible.
Actually, are any of you particularly strong magically? Could always use another body in the
I
room.
am a sorcerer, and I have nearly graduated from the academy.
Yeah, I think we're all magical.
I'll take the academy dude. Jala.
Jara.
Jara.
Right.
It's one of those things, it's like you didn't finish school, but you made the effort, and that's kind of a little bit more than most people.
No, well, I was in my last year, and I just kind of felt I was ready to venture out, and so I just
We
kind of
don't need the biography, but I like the fact that you tried, and you aren't under crippling debt from your loans. So good for you.
No,
Okay.
I was actually like patron there, so like debt free baby.
Still didn't finish. All right, let's go.
Mostly, I got the important lessons.
So she leaves you all in the room. She takes a
I have
jar.
a question.
Yes, Eyeless.
How long is this going to take?
Tough to say. I will determine that when I figure out how bad it is. Do you have a date? Are you on a date?
No, I'm mostly curious. If there's a chance I'm going to die, Iris is going to like pull her mechanical hand off, and it's just going to splinter off into just sort of what looks to be just a really old arcane screwdriver. Felix, if I die, you should probably have this.
Iris, let's hope that doesn't happen.
I don't think I have all the confidence in the world that I can do this, and with Jala's help, I think we're okay.
Jara, but you're close.
I think this is just a good idea in general to just in case.
Yeah, listen to Zuko, everyone.
All right,
Nice.
Thanks, Iris.
If this takes long enough, you're welcome to attune to it and maybe help.
Okay.
How
does it? All right, this is your multi-tool?
The all-purpose tool, yeah.
The all-purpose tool, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha.
With that, all right, Iris, let's go.
Okay.
She'll usher you into the back. She says, Justin, honey, make sure.
It's Jara, and I just met you.
She says, just make sure everyone out there is good. And Justin, her husband, says, you're freaking me out, Zima. And the look again. Many words said without any verbally said. And he leaves the room. So you are in a magical clean room. For those that have done any formal enchanting or anything like that, this is a...
I feel like Jara would be familiar.
Yes.
This feels like the arcane equivalent of a government secure lab.
Kind of. It's a very, very, very expensive room to build and maintain.
Mhm.
And there are many sort of chokehold points where you have to like demagicify yourself.
Decontaminate. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is an arcane intro. Okay. Got it.
This is like a legit. This lady doesn't fuck around. This is an expensive, state of the art, magical clean room. All right. So she'll usher you in. There's a single kind of table akin to that of like actually it's nothing. It seems plain in terms of its construct and like what it's made from, but knowing what this room is, the materials that were sourced to make this are probably astronomically expensive because you have to find like absolutely mundane materials, which is a lot harder than it sounds because everything in the world has an essence of magic for the most part. So these are like heavily processed, heavily reduced, heavily cleaned or cleansed objects. So even this like slate table in this room, which is like, you'd think maybe this is, I don't know, dirt cheap, is probably the most expensive part of the room. With that said, she places you in the center. She says, all right, Iris, this may be a very strange sensation for you.
Okay.
You may find yourself in and out of consciousness. You may find yourself in dreams.
Would you prefer if I was not conscious for this?
I think it's important to have you in a natural state. So whether that is in and out of consciousness is up to your natural state, whatever you choose or your body lets you do, to induce anything on you would hinder the process. I just want to reiterate, you've spent a considerable amount of time with this object inside of you in some way. It is very dark and it is very powerful. If you have any visions of anything, anyone promising you things, making you deals, trying to persuade you to do one thing or the other, it's important to remember it's fake and not to succumb.
Okay.
I need you to repeat that because this is important.
Okay. If I am to see visions of otherworldly beings or otherwise strange persons, demons, etc., who are offering me uh, any selection of things to stay true to my physical consciousness and to remember that it is not real.
Great. All right. Shall we begin?
By all means.
All right. We will continue this after our 5-minute break.
Hey!
Come back around 7:55 and pick up with what
The
will-
surgery.
yeah, like this exorcism on Iris.
Yeah, this is very cool.
Nice.
See you in 5. All right, we are back with the operation about to begin. So on the outside of the clean room, you guys can technically watch. It's kind of like an operating room, you can call it. You can see in if you choose to watch your compatriot. You see Jara and Zima dressed in a very silly-looking, kind of very loose-fitting cloth material that seems to be specifically made for these types of environments.
They're mundane scrubs.
Zima implores you, Jara, she says, just follow my lead. I understand you're a learned man. I can use your expertise, but just stay out of my way.
Yeah, you're the professional here. I'm your assistant. I'm just here to assist you. I got it.
All right. Wonderful. With your help, I'm confident we can save your friend. Just wanted to reiterate the consequences of what we're doing here, so we're all on the same page.
Therathari's gonna kind of elbow Felix and say, couldn't we have put it back in your bag before this? And
We didn't know that they were gonna do a whole. We didn't know it was this dire. I guess we could have.
Well, I think the idea was, just so it's a little clearer, opening Iris's cavity with a feedback looped, primed scroll is what she wanted to avoid.
Yeah, we would just be broadcasting where we are to all the demons and such.
Hey, demons, it's your boy.
We here. There's already one
It's
attraction.
the girl, Iris.
Let's see how many at the end of this campaign. How many of you are going to be tracked by demons? We're at two.
Yeah,
we're at 2 of 4.
We're already at half the party.
At the party. All right, we got to step our game up.
By the way, Felix, I don't know if you noticed this. I hope it came across. When you were in possession of it, your pendant grew brighter.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but I mean, I noticed both things, but I didn't put that together.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, the operation begins. So, Zima will begin to assess the situation. She is doing a couple of magical enchantments around you, Iris. You feel some very subtle tingling as she's doing these sort of investigative spells just to see the gauge at where you are in terms of the alignment spectrum, considering you have a incredibly evil aligned object within you. Then she will begin to instruct you, Iris. Okay, I have my bearings. I'm going to instruct you in a moment to open your cavity so that I and Jara here may move out this object.
Okay.
I want to stress to you, this is the time that you will feel the most pull by any deities or entities that may want to sway you. I need you to remain strong, steadfast in your beliefs and your alignment, channel a memory of a happy place. I don't care. Just make sure this is real. Anything else isn't.
Okay.
Okay, Jara. On my mark, I need you to assist me with this movement. We are both going to Mage Hand.
All right.
I have prepared. You see she kind of pulls out from some of the I guess she would have done this beforehand. She would have brought in a sort of a case where the scroll will eventually end up. This is a very expensive case, and we only really have one shot at this. So,
All right.
focus.
Focus. Lasered in.
On my mark, Iris is going to open her chest cavity. We are going to Mage Hand at the same time. Grab this artifact from her cavity of holding, sure, and transfer it simultaneously into this case. The important thing is, for us, Jara, we must not sway despite any persuasive whisperings that we may encounter. So I need you
100%.
to fight through and do this for your friend Iris. All right. So, with that being said, mechanics-wise, this is going to be a small skill challenge.
Oh boy.
All right.
There are going to be 3 checkpoints during this process. The first being mainly solely focused on Iris, and when the cavity comes open, Iris's ability to remain the same, let's call it. Then the movement of the scroll into the box. That's where Jara will come in, along with Zima. There will be a joint roll. There may be some impedances, depending. And then finally, there's one final roll where Zima will take over and basically enclose this scroll in the box. At any given time, there may be some wrenches thrown in. Unfortunately, those on the outside of the room are unable to participate, so you can just watch.
Are we watching through like a glass panel or something?
Yeah,
Is
it's
that kinda,
actually
like,
more of a
revealed?
magical force field before
Okay.
even the panels start. But you are effectively watching through some transparent medium where you can see
Right.
the room. All right, are we ready?
I think so.
I have a question, or maybe I would know this. Like, you can't really like cast spells or anything in this room, right?
It gets a little iffy. You can ask Zima, but essentially, from your experience in these rooms, you can absolutely cast a spell. The difference is, in these rooms, the spell's effects are amplified a lot because there's no magical fields that are interrupting it. So you have to be very careful what you cast.
If we could cast spells in here, there's one thing I'd like to do before we start.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to cast Heroism at 2nd level on both Zima and Jara.
Also, well, let's see how Zima reacts to this.
Frightened. Gains temporary hit points. Okay. So you cannot be frightened, Dan. Neither.
It's only about a minute of concentration, but it might help.
Yeah, as long as you don't go unconscious, this will be up.
Zima, do you think a protection from evil and good spell on Iris here would be useful?
I think so. Give it a shot.
All right. Then I'm gonna cast that onto Iris.
I don't suppose it will do anything bad.
So any aberrations, celestial, elemental, fae, fiends, and undead. If a creature of that type tries to charm you, frighten you, or possess you, they can't.
Excellent.
And I think you have advantage. No, that's only if you're under an effect. Yeah. So yeah, they just basically they can't charm, they can't possess, and they can't frighten you if they are aberration, celestial, elemental, fae.
Yeah, I have it pulled up.
Or undead.
Okay. Anything else before we start? You're icing the kicker here.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
All right. On 1. 3, 2, 1. Iris,
All right, let's start.
you flip your chest cavity open. Immediately, you feel a coldness overcome your body. Jara, you see at the opening of Iris's bag of holding, there is a dark, very dark purple, almost like so dark it looks black, aura, kind of a wave that pours out. And you presume this existed when you opened Felix's bag previously. It's just in an environment with no magical effects. It's amplified and visible. Like on the spectrum of visible light, you can see it. This initial wave emanates out. Iris, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Knock on wood, I'm good at those. That's cocked. Okay, excellent. 10.
Okay. 1 sec. See if I can find the right one. I don't hear anything. Hold on, I gotta find the right music for this.
Hey.
That was just a straight roll, right? Like no advantage or disadvantage.
No,
Yes.
straight roll.
Okay.
All right, a 10. Iris. After the sensation of cold overtakes your body, you feel your muscles tighten as though they are constricting. As I guess muscles may not be the right word for you other than your arm. You feel your body undergo extreme tension and become stiffened. Your eyes in this otherwise perfectly white room, for some reason, go into darkness. All around you, the space becomes void of any light, except a single point, almost infinitely small, but in this dark space, illuminating this purple presence, this purple aura. You hear beckoning you in this void, a whisper. Iris. You're free to move, as though with these words hitting your ears, your body's the stiffness gives way. You're relaxed. You're free to move, as though walking, although it's more of a float than a walk. There's no ground you're stepping on. You kind of will yourself to move in any direction. All around you is black void, but a single point. What do you do, Iris?
I'm gonna go ahead and make myself a little wisdom saving throw to see what's going on in here.
Sure.
Okay, so with a 16, I'd say that despite the noise, the words, and the darkness, I think her first instinct is to just kind of stay still and let the external forces of Zima and Jara do their work.
Okay. Jara, you and Zima look at Iris, who is still as a corpse. You can see she's not dead, but her eyes are widened and fixed to the ceiling. Completely, you kind of wave your hand over, completely unresponsive, although conscious. Immediately, Zima looks at you, and you have instinctually casted Mage Hand alongside her. That's the situation outside of Iris. Iris,
Oh boy.
there's another feeling of coldness and stiffness, followed by another whisper from this point that now grows larger. Iris, you have questions. I have answers. And a memory immediately hits your mind.
Shit.
You see a beautifully lit bedroom. You're under a canopy on a very soft bed. You're kind of sat up on one side. You feel this soft touch of something on your smaller back, a hand, a warm hand, outlooking a beautiful window with curtains draped on the side, overlooking a cityscape. Behind the cityscape, an empty blue sea sky, not a cloud in sight. You feel a gentle breeze kind of waft in. You look down at yourself and feel hair waft in the wind. You look back, and there is a person, a purple-skinned humanoid male of some kind. Actually, technically, this situation, they are not gendered, just person. And they look up at you with a smile. You look back at them. And there's this name that creeps into your mind. Just almost as though it's like on your tongue. It's hard to explain. Like it just randomly comes to you. And the name is Voss, Vaus. And you feel yourself just kind of instinctually saying it, Voss, as it comes out. The smile, the person smiles again at you, kind of rubs their hand on your back, and you're pulled from that memory into this blank void. I'll ask for another con save.
That was new.
I will ask you to be honest as Iris. Does Iris want to know more?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely, she does.
Okay, so you can choose to fail this roll and not even roll it.
I'm going to choose to roll with disadvantage, because this is the first vision
Sure.
she's getting. If she gets more, then it might be a bit frisky. So that one's cocked. First roll is a 22. Disadvantaged is a 23. Okay, so 22 con save at
Wow,
disadvantage.
that's a great save. Okay. Your body, at the whispering, when the conclusion of the whispering returns to a stiff stillness. And outside of you, Jara, you see Iris go from a stiff, sort of motionless kind of body to a tense, kind of shaking with tension kind of body that is now not like seizing or anything that violent yet, but is visibly having effects.
Can I yell something?
Well, Zima will immediately say, Iris, stay strong. Iris, you hear in like an echo, very distant, you hear, Iris, stay strong. Stay strong.
Oh, that's very disorienting.
She looks at you, Jara. You're both kind of sweating now as the scroll has been lifted partially out of the cavity of Iris. Jara, I need you to make a con.
Con save?
Yes.
I got a 15.
There is a moment that a memory, or not even a memory, a vision enters your mind. You're like a bird flying above a cityscape, high above all these different geometrically shaped roofs of various elevations. You can see very close by, off of your right shoulder, kind of flying formless above, an ocean, a beach with waves whoosh, crashing in on shore. You recognize this immediately as Lothros, a city you've been to in the past. One of the places that you've investigated. And you kind of remember this section of the city as a familiar friend may reside here. You kind of fly and zoom through the cityscape into an open window on a 2-story small building into a bedroom. Very small bedroom. A mattress kind of placed on some sort of box spring, and a single desk and clothes thrown about, and a coughing, on their last legs, a young lady who is being tended to by a familiar face, kind of washcloth on the forehead. And the vision ends. Okay. Zima looks at you, Jara, having kind of gone frozen with this scroll halfway out of Iris, and she screams at you, Jara, it's just a vision. It's not real. Fuck. All right. You snap back after just barely passing that, Jara, and immediately start removing the scroll further from Iris, who at this point is still kind of, it's like when you make a fist and squeeze really hard, is shaking in that way. Iris, the scroll being lifted out of you, this is the hardest part of the skill check for you. The vision that you were granted, the memory, fresh in your mind, so many questions, the thirst for answers. I need you to make one more con save. If you want to fail it, you can. Or roll a flat, however you want.
Can I?
Are there
Yeah,
are there additional visions accompanying this, or is this just sort of like another different sensation?
This is a different vision that you will be granted. One that I guess is you feel or is conveyed to you somehow, like empathetically, somehow through emotion, that this is going to be a vision that will maybe answer some really important questions you have.
Iris, it's not real. The visions are fake.
Stay strong, Iris.
I wouldn't know.
But the visions are fake.
I'm gonna give it disadvantage because she wants to know, but this is some fucked up shit. Oh fuck. Well, it doesn't matter because my first roll is a natural 1.
Okay.
7 total, technically.
All right. Natural 1. Just roll for the second one to humor me.
Sure.
That's one.
18 would have been the second one.
All right. With a natural 1, you watch Jara and Zima and everyone else outside watch as Iris transitions into a violent shake. Her legs, her arms, her body, her chest are shaking in a violent, rapid succession. Iris,
Oh god.
your body goes from this still cold feeling to, as words enter your mind, I guess to better convey this, it's like words entering your mind that are giving you this memory. So it's like being told to you, and you can see visually what's being told. So everything I'm going to describe is in a whispery voice that you are actually visually seeing the details of. You are in a very cold subterranean chamber. Around you are desks filled with all sorts of magical instruments, scientific tools, beakers, test tubes, jars full of different things. And in the center, there is a semicircular arc, maybe 15 feet at its peak at the very top. And adorned on it are these runes and symbols in a language that it's almost like this is going to be a very weird analogy, but this is the best thing I can think of. It's like when you're in a dream and you're running, but you can't run fast enough. That's like kind of how it feels, but like trying to read this. You recognize the symbols. You just can't string them together to understand it, of the runes on this arc. In your hand, and on your body, first on your body is a sort of lab coat-esque outfit. You can see in your pocket are all sorts of like tools, screwdrivers, magnifying glass, random instruments of whatever you're carrying out. And next to you, you have a very familiar looking automaton. It has the same sort of features as you currently do, Iris. Same sort of tones of color, splotches of color, handling of the armor. You can see it's encased, or not encased, it's being worked on, so it's not completed. But in your hands, you have like a mallet of some kind, and you're in the process, kind of, this memory comes to you as you're attaching plates of metal to this construct that you are working on. A voice is heard from behind you, and you turn and see Voss, the familiar face from the memory preceding this one, and he says, "Wow, it's coming along. You're almost done, right?" And without being able to control your own body, you form the words, "Yes. Very close. What about our other preparations? Did you finish those?" And Voss looks at you. "Yep, all taken care of. We have the charges at the square, the cathedral, and at Emperor Dake, D-A-K-E. Emperor Dake's state, all set, ready for you to go." Great. Leave me. I must finish. And then there's a blank slate, kind of just a point in time that's gone. And you come back to a new memory, or a new part of this time-jumped memory, and you have finished your construction, your contraption, and put it into this pod-like chamber. It's got a glass top, but the rest of it is like solid stone. And you say, again, outside of your own control, you kind of say, "I have big plans for you, Iris." And she turns and walks over to this arch and you begin to chant some sort of magical enchantment, again, of a language that you know but can't understand. It's very peculiar. And the runes begin to glow. And then another time jump. And you're in a familiar looking building to one of the memories you had way long ago, or room, where you're in like a supply closet, and there's cracks that form in this room, and you hear explosions and screaming, and things in this room fall in. I don't know if you remember having that vision.
I remember this one. I do remember this one.
And I think it ended before you left the room. But leaving this room, you see the arch has fully lit up. There is a sort of waving sheet of magical, like, force field in the arch. And you can see on the other side, it's super translucent, or opaque, excuse me. You can see on the other side a violent landscape of fire and lava and like explosions of flame, bursts of lava. And the ground around you is cracking and shaking. And you run over and press a lever, and out shoots down over a frozen expanse the pod with Iris. And the memory fades, and you are brought back into this dark room with a single point of light that has now grown even brighter. Jara, on the outside, you have watched your friend for the better part of a minute now convulse violently as you are moving this scroll. There's a point at which there's so much resistance. I need you to make a Arcana check, Iris. I mean, not Iris,
Right.
Jara.
All right, Arcana. Oh, 23. Beautiful.
Okay. This is a roll. Okay. Zima rolls a 22. You guys are able to fully remove it out and bring it over to the case. Now, this is the part where Iris could potentially be taken from us.
Oh,
These are
God.
some big rolls here, Iris. Jara, as far as your contribution, Zemo looks at you and says, "I have the rest. Just Help your friend.
All right, if there's anything you need from me, just let me know.
All right, she's about to put it into the box. Hey, Iris.
Um,
There
All
is.
right.
can I go over to Iris and I don't know, just to try cast a lesser restoration on her?
Yeah, go ahead and run over. You cast Lesser Restoration.
Just in case it helps if she's blind, deaf, and paralyzed or anything.
Okay, yeah, you run over, you touch her her arm, and your hands glow faintly, and the magical energy is imparted into her. One thing that's interesting is that her chest cavity is still open. That dark purple aura is gone. It's kind of seeped into the room and dissipated into like the ether of the room. However, your lesser restoration, as it kind of seeps into parts of Iris, it almost seems like it's being attacked. I think I described this before when you moved the scroll, where like the dark energy is just naturally fighting with the ether that was outside of it. In this case, because there's no ether, it's pretty much mundane. It's attacking your spell as though it has no effect.
Darn. Well, worth a shot.
You can see these like purple tendrils fighting the glowing light that you're emanating when casting this. Okay, Iris.
Oh boy.
So, the way this will work. If you want more of your memories, it will make this roll harder. The more memories, the harder it gets. You're going to roll a d100, but before that, your actions may influence the percentage of that roll. It starts at 50.
Oh, we're gambling. Okay, this is how this is gonna work then.
It
Okay.
starts at 15%, as mentioned
Mhm.
before. So
Mhm.
15% chance of death. Now I've changed the range of the D100 in terms
Okay.
of like I am allotting a starting point somewhere in that 100 and 15
So it's not
more
0
than
to
that
15. There's just a
Correct.
random set of 15 numbers that
Yes.
is the kill zone.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
To add this to the suspense because I'm evil.
Excellent. Excellent.
I plotted
I would
this for
do
a
the
long
exact-
time.
I would do the exact same thing.
Good. We're on the same page. I don't feel as bad now. Okay. So, prior to this percentage roll, you, Iris, are granted choice. Okay? You can be given more of this memory or adjacent memories. In exchange for every distinct memory, will add 10% higher chance that you won't make it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you choose to take on this next memory, you will have a 25% chance of dying.
Mm-hmm.
I will leave it up to you, Iris.
Oh God. I think, based on what she's gotten out of this point, she kind of has a bit of a focus on what she'd want to look for now. A couple of different weird names that may or may not poke around in history. Seeing the mechanical body being dropped down through a pod at some sort of disaster point, there's enough that she can go and act on it, so I don't think she would look for anything more.
Okay? You're going to take the 15%.
I'm gonna go with 15.
Okay. All right, Iris. Roll the D100.
I've never seen you lose these, Paul.
47.
All right. Jara, you watch holding on to your friend, not necessarily praying, but maybe in this moment, you just maybe something. You hear Zima struggling on the other side of the table, putting this scroll in the box, knowing that this process is nearly completed. Your only focus now is on Iris, if she'll make it out. You see as her body continues to seize violently, and it increases in intensity for a brief moment. Is there anything you would like to do, Jara, in the meantime, while this is going on, while you're watching your friend? You tried a spell. Do you want to try anything else?
Seeing that the spell didn't work, or that the spell was fighting the magic in her chest, right? Thinking that, all right, maybe these restoration spells, if I shoot off more of them, then some of that evil energy will fight off the spell instead of try to inflict, on Iris. I'm just gonna be casting lesser restoration as many times as I can.
We'll make an Arcana check before you do that.
Yeah, I can do that too. 17.
Okay, you
No,
gather
16.
as a learned man, you gathered that it wasn't the spell necessarily that the reason it was fought off was it was some particular spell. It's the spell level. You gather that
Spell
your
level.
level that you casted that, which was second level, is probably not strong enough to pierce this demonic field that's around Iris. It's protecting itself from.
There's no benefit to upcasting it, right?
The benefit would be potentially you find the level at which it pierces.
Okay, well then I'm just gonna I'll use my 4th level spell on it then.
Okay, fourth level spell. All
I'll
right.
use a 4th level lesser restoration on it then.
Okay.
The only time it's ever been done.
Yeah.
Probably. You watch as this time the magical energy from your hands actually finds purchase in Iris. As a result, actually, Iris, you can. Your chances increase. I'll increase them by 5%. Even though you already rolled, they are technically increased by 5%. However, that may help you or not. So you have a 10% chance of dying now. So you rolled a 47, Iris.
47.
Your body hits its sort of peak in terms of this seizing movement. Jara and Felix, what are you guys doing?
Jar.
Sorry. Felix and Farah, what are you doing?
Probably readying a diamond just in case things go wrong.
Tharathari, anything?
Nope, just watching in horror at this point.
Okay. You watch Justin just leaves the room. He just is like, I can't take this. I gotta go. So he exits into the main room, the main showroom. Okay. Iris. You come out of your state, gasping for air. You take. 39 necrotic damage,
Lovely.
but you are alive. You watch as Iris's body stops seizing, her eyes eventually kind of go from this glossed over stasis state into darting around the room, panicked. You feel the hand of Jara on your arm, Iris, comforting you. As soon as you come out of this trance, Zima says, you hear the slam of a top. She just sits there on the floor, panting. You're all sweating. But Iris, you lived.
How close?
Not even close.
Okay, good.
You were way off.
All right.
What was the range that you had?
I won't tell you.
Word, fair enough.
How would you have taken the 5% off?
Oh, I would have done it
off the beginning or the end.
I would have done it to whatever saved Iris. That's the fair way to do it.
Fair.
If you roll after the fact, then I would be different. But okay, let me change the music here. Iris, you are back. Zima looks up at you. How do you feel?
That was a lot.
Piece of cake.
I gotta admit, you're stronger than I thought.
I told you we're more capable than people give us credit for.
Yeah, you held your own. All right, let's clean up here, Jara, and send your buddy you on your way.
Yeah, what do you need me to do? Happy to help.
All right, so you just do a few more magical enchantments, just to kind of clean the space, as best you can. There's a longer ritual that Zima will have to perform, but she'll leave that. She just wants to make sure whatever demonic energy is in here has been largely dealt with. She
Sure.
looks at you, Iris. She kind of offers her hand to help you up.
All right. Yep. I'm up and in.
Okay. You notice, you reach out, your other forearm to hand, purple flesh.
Oh.
We got 2 real arms, baby.
1.5.
Okay. That's new.
All right, 1.5.
Well, you good to stand?
I think so.
All right. And she lifts you up. Unfortunately, your bag of holding could not be salvaged.
That's fine. I can make a new one in the morning.
But the good news is, I'm fairly confident that the demonic trail or this dark energy will dissipate with you or from you within the coming days to near zero for the foreseeable
All right.
future. So you dodge that bullet. At this point, she's taken you guys out of the clean room to your friends. I imagine you hug or whatever. But she'll say, the scroll. We should talk about the scroll. I'll leave you guys a moment. I need some fucking wine. She's going to leave for a second. Leave you guys kind of in the room adjacent to the clean room. To talk amongst yourselves, share feelings, whatever you want.
Well, first of all, Iris, I'm very happy to be talking to you right now.
I'm the same way. I don't know how much of whatever demonic entity was there influenced anything. I did get to learn more about myself during that entire ordeal.
How do you know that what you saw was real? Weren't you told to disregard everything, that it was all fake?
I was, but it all felt very natural, like I had done it before.
You have had cursed scrolls taken from your chest cavity and had demonic visions before?
No, but I have taken psychedelic mushrooms and had similar visions. I also, for whatever reason, have 1.5 new arms.
Well, the last time you had visions that I think were true, you got new arms, so maybe they were real?
I'm starting to wonder whether or not this chassis is meant to incubate some sort of physical entity.
Like you're not really you, or maybe you are, but you just aren't in your final form yet.
Maybe something like a cocoon or a chrysalis of sorts.
Yeah, I could see that. That sounds like what's happening.
From what I understand, whatever I was before made me, and then when their city burst into flames, I was dropped out of an escape pod.
I see. So you're like the contingency plan.
I suppose. Something like that.
And
Well,
did you have any experience about the artifact, or was it just about your own history?
Nothing with the scroll. No, it was all about my past.
that seems a little off. I wonder why.
I'm not particularly sure what caused that.
Maybe they knew that it would, that showing you that would maybe distract you and make you more vulnerable to its.
I did feel particularly susceptible to its influence after the memories resurfaced.
Yeah, then maybe it was just using that as a means to its end.
But how would it have your memories if you didn't have them? I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I'm not quite sure either, but as
Well-
long as I'm not really corrupted and I've regained new memories, I'd like to say I got the better of that exchange.
It was a close one.
I think so.
I think I've done the only high-level lesser restoration cast in existence, but it
Well,
worked.
regarding the scroll, uh, what if we came back here tomorrow and did a zone of truth on our friend here to make sure that she would handle it responsibly?
Do we trust within the 8 to 10 hours that we're not here that it will remain here safely?
I mean, we're also heading in the direction of those monks that can destroy the item. I'm just saying.
We are. I
We
just
are,
know
but is that our
we came
primary
here.
directive, or
Right. We
I
came
thought
here
that was
initially
something
to
else
drop
we
it
were going
off.
to do?
Or I guess we didn't come here to drop it off, but that was initially our intention, was to like drop it off with someone.
If we find a Temple of Ayun on the way, I think I would trust them to handle it since that's like their sworn enemy.
Right.
But if there's like no affiliation with Ayun, then I still feel like we should hand it off to that person.
Well,
Because I know we aren't going to do anything with it.
maybe we should just talk to Zima first. I would put a good deal of trust given how well this went.
Or it's a really good long con.
I imagine if she wanted it for herself, she likely wouldn't let us leave.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
You hear footsteps. There's 2 bottles of wine in one hand and a bunch of glasses. I think we all should take a drink. After all, I need one. I got some good reds here. And she'll plant them on a
Sure,
table
I'll
in
take
this
one.
room. And she'll put the glasses down. Pour herself a nice big glass.
2 shots of vodka.
And she downs
Zima,
it. Oh. Yes.
thanks so much for helping out. I know we came by late. I know you were closed. You were expecting to have a peaceful evening, but you came in.
Yeah,
Clutch for us.
what do we owe you for this ordeal? I feel like we owe you something, at least.
Well, first I'll say, as much as it was an adventure, the only reason I did it was because it needed to be done, as I'm sure you understand doing what you've done so far. I suppose as recompense or payment of some kind. You mentioned going down south, correct?
Yeah, we are on a mission for. Well, I don't know. Do you feel comfortable saying this, Therathari?
I think she's demonstrated enough trustworthiness with this.
All right. Well, we're heading down to the Guanji Mountains. We're on a mission from the archive to look at some something that they got going on in some of the caves there. So we're kind of heading that direction already on archive business.
Okay. Well, if you feel so inclined, there's an old tower that belonged to a relative. And she is referring to the Revolt Spire. She'll say, if you find yourself with a desire to wander off the beaten path, there are some items in the spire, the Revolt Spire, that I am technically owed as part of a will. The reason why I haven't received them is there are some, let's call them obstacles in the way. And I just have not had the time to make my way down there and deal with them. If you do return them to me, on top of paying me back for this debt, I will owe you an enchantment of any item that you wish, of any enchantment of any kind, at no expense to your own. I want to reiterate, my talents are known across this continent. Even getting on my wait list is a feat, let alone a free item. I don't make mistakes. So if that's at all something you're interested in, that's my offer.
Well, we have certainly seen your talents firsthand.
Other than that, just don't be idiots with the scroll.
But is there a timeline on when we could do this for you? Out of
Whenever,
curiosity?
whenever you go and come back, if you haven't come back, I don't know, maybe a few months' time, I'll end up making my way down there, perhaps.
All right. Uh, I intend to see this debt paid, so it might not be until after we finish the business with Archive, but I intend to repay you for your services
I'm
tonight.
more than happy to do the same.
Sure.
Yeah, indeed.
Great. And she'll raise a glass and kind of toast to that deal.
And which locale?
The
Was that
Revel
in?
Spire.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Revel's. Okay.
Could you tell us more about these items and these obstacles?
Before we get to that, I want to talk about the scroll. We should do a
Oh,
little bit of
sure,
a
yeah.
debrief. I
It's
think
like-
that's important.
Yeah, let's not get too off track.
So definitely the scroll is from Thariston. So good on you for recognizing that. It is
Yeah.
without a doubt probably the most evilly aligned item I think I've ever seen. In
Oh,
fact,
Right.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever read anything even close to this. And I don't think I have. I have a pretty good memory. So to be honest
Yeah.
with you, the fact that you even have this, the fact that you lugged it from Oldwood, wherever
Yeah,
that
just
is,
north of the spires.
through the spires,
Westway Walk, or Answood. It was Answood by Answood.
the fact that you've lugged it this far and not died or been corrupted or attacked by any demons, I think you should thank whoever you believe in because they are looking out for you heavily. Now that that's on the table, I really think this type of thing should make its way not to the monks. I don't know that I trust they can even handle it. There's a name. I'm not sure if you've heard. You might have. You said you went to the academy, yeah?
Yeah.
Let me get this name for you. Okay, I'm gonna have to search it. It's a very specific name that I don't want to get wrong. I don't have it in my notes for this session. I will search it in a second in the next downtime and send it to you. Enter name here. Not very climactic. They are specifically trained to deal with this. And unfortunately, you may have to tread on your old stomping grounds as you look at you, Jara. They're at the academy.
Right.
I don't know if you want to lug it all the way there. I know it seems like you're going south, and that's way out of the way.
Yeah.
I can hold it, or you can take it. I don't care. As long as it doesn't fall into the hands of any nefarious actors. And for the love of all the gods, never, ever open that lid.
I agree with that. It is out of our way, 100% out of
That's
it,
very out of our way.
out of our way.
I mean,
In fact, you can say it's across the continent from where we are right now.
Correct, yeah, I figured.
So it's definitely not something we could do in the immediate future because, like I said, we're on a time schedule for the archive, and this is something we just kind of picked up on the way. Yeah, I guess I'll open up to the group. What are your thoughts?
If we're not going out that way anytime soon, I don't know how comfortable I am carrying it around with us.
How far of a trip would that be as a straight shot by way of magic carpet?
From From here,
Yeah.
quite a ways. Let me switch to
Is there what is there a teleport? There's got to be a teleportation circle in the academy, right?
Yeah, yes. If you're asking me, Zima, yes, there are definitely teleportation pads. It's just a matter of where they can connect you to in the world. By the way, the name is a Professor Einhardt.
Do I know
But
that name?
she'll say, technically, yes, they can connect you to any other archive. So if you want to weave your way through the archives, that will definitely cut down your transit time. Just a matter of, can you get the access? Do you know anyone on the inside? And can you
son of a
convince
bitch,
them?
Jared.
Can you
I was about to
convince?
say, do you know this person?
You son of a bitch.
And can you convince the archive to let you use it? If you can,
Awesome.
sure. I mean, you can get there in a matter of days. But from here, it would be a month plus if you travel very fast and are willing to pay.
All right. Well, is
Surely-
there any? I'll ask this, Becky. Are there any teleportation circles nearby that you know that could maybe get us there?
None in this city. I believe wherever there's an archive, there's a circle sigil.
I will say for the group for RP wise, when she says the name of Professor Einhardt, you kind of see like a physical wince come across Jara's
Hmm.
face. Just because it took me a second, I had to make sure it was the name that I thought it was.
Surely in a city as wealthy as this one, we could find a vault to hold it.
I would be careful where you put this thing.
Well, you said so. Let's hold on. Let's go back to this teleportation circle thing. Because I mean, if we can get one that's connected to the academy, we can just be there right away, right? So, you said maybe like the archive might have a series of teleportation circles that could get us there.
I think most archives, I'm not part of that group, but I think most of them are kitted out with teleportation sigils so they can transport.
Is there
freely
one? Is there an archive in the city?
Not in Deepwater, no. Sorry.
So I think Therathori that we could potentially bring this up with the archive and maybe use their resources to get us there to finish this.
Oh, you're affiliated? If so, then probably. I would imagine they would want to act. Okay, let me
Well,
say
we
this.
are on archive business, so yes, we're affiliated.
Interesting. So maybe I shouldn't say this, but because I don't care, I'm going to. Some people in the archive, while it is overall a bastion of good, I think they may see an artifact of this magnitude and their mind may wander. I don't know of individuals necessarily by name. As you can imagine, as a very skillful enchanter, I have brushed shoulders with some of these members, and I can tell you with some confidence, some of them may be a little bit less pure-hearted than I think they may lead on. And we all know how people get on power trips.
I think I
you're
agree
part
with
of
you.
that, Thari, right? That's your name?
Right.
I don't want to make any assumptions about you or your friend, but in good conscience, an artifact like that scroll in that box, just be careful who you give it to. That's all.
I think I agree with you. I'm suggesting that we don't hand it over to the archive, but we have the archive assist us in destroying it. Therathori.
I'll say it. Let's just sip more wine.
How big is this case, by the way?
The case is maybe the size of a shoebox.
Okay.
It's very heavy, though. Anyway,
I think I think if we want to be the ones to finish it, unless I know we heard from. So let me throw this past Yuma. I heard from Father Preston that people of the faith of Ayun are kind of like the antithesis of Tharizdun, and so they might be a good group of people to hand this off to. Do you know if there is like a strong temple of Ayun somewhere close by, maybe that we could maybe have them finish the task? Like, I feel like if we were to not do this ourselves, giving it to the temple of Ayun might be the only other group of people I would be comfortable giving the item to.
So unfortunately, Ayun is not a sanctioned deity, so not going to really find strong alcoves of them in major cities. However, you're headed south. I
Right.
know for a fact near the Twin Steps, near the Grove, there are many temples from days long gone, from native peoples and things like that. And I swear I remember there being a temple to Ayun out there that's still worshipped and used.
All right.
It's not in the Grove, but it's on the Twin Steps path, and it's somewhere around the Grove. I'm not really sure where exactly.
All right. Well,
So should we just go there and then?
I mean, we have to head in that through the Twin Steps anyway to get where we want to go. So
I also want to say you can absolutely put this in a pocket dimension. You just run the risk if anything happens to this box, or if any bad presence is alerted to it, it may be a bad time.
So I think the safest place for this to be would probably be locked in one of your chests, Iris. Not your literal physical chest on your body, but like one of your chests in your portable workshop.
did we establish whether or not that was like items stay in there, or do they get ejected?
Can
out
stay in
after?
there. I'm just.
Okay.
It's limited in how often I can open it.
Oh, true. Well, but that isn't that even better?
Technically, yes. I normally only open it when we need temporary sleeping arrangements or if I need to work on something.
All right. So I guess spitballing out loud, as far as next steps, we find that Temple of Ioun down in the Twin Steps by the Grove. We speak to them, maybe hand it off to them if we feel like they're equipped for it, or if not, maybe we go to the archive and go to the academy ourselves and finish it off that way.
Yeah, I think once we get to the Guanji Mountains, we can talk to the archive people there if we still have it, if we haven't handed it off to
Right.
the Ayun people.
I mean, realistically, we're supposed to be at the Guanji Mountains in like a few days, so like we should get there pretty quick.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, that sounds fairly reasonable.
At least now we're not corrupting pocket dimensions anymore. I feel a little bit better. I was a little bit worried about that, so I'm glad we got that handled.
Demon, does that sound reasonable to you as like an outsider?
I think so. I gave you the kind of stipulations and what I'd look for and what I would do. That's all I can do. You guys seem to take this seriously, which gives me hope. I guess we'll find out if, or I guess I'll find out if the world comes to an end at some point. Someone had this
I plan on doing everything in my power to not have the world end, so don't you worry on that.
Well, I appreciate that. And I, maybe as a final thought here, just keep an eye on Iris for a little while and make sure everything's kosher there and she's not.
Yeah, Iris, we're gonna dial back the psychedelics for like a few days.
Definitely would recommend that.
I can do that.
And you, Felix, said that you're being tracked by some demon.
Yeah. That's a separate thing, not related to the scroll at all. But yes, I am.
Or I don't know what it is. Don't want to know. But if there is anyone that could break that kind of curse, it'd probably be Professor Einhard.
Okay, seems like a helpful guy.
He's kind of a prick, but in terms of
Jar instinctively nods his head, like kind of a prick. He's like,
Are you familiar with this Einhart?
yeah, I've ran into him for
I mean,
sure.
anyone at the academy is 100% familiar. He's kind of like
I'm aware.
the Michael Jordan. He's a famous sports player
Well,
from where I'm from, of magic.
he's all right.
Just gifted. And he sure makes sure you know he's gifted. So,
Yeah, he does.
but he'd be the guy I would seek.
All right. Well, hopefully this Temple of Ioun can handle it, because that would be preferred.
All right. With all due respect, get the hell out of my shop. I'd like to have my dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Have a good night.
Yeah, we'll be in touch about your items from the old tower of Revolt Spire.
Yeah, whenever you get to it. If not, I'll eventually go over there and deal with it myself. But be doing me a favor.
Absolutely. Happy
All right.
to do it.
Get out.
And we out.
All right. It is now well into the evening, approaching 9:30 at night. The nightlife of Deepwater is in effect. I will add tomorrow is Friday. For those keeping track,
Okay.
what would you guys like to do? Oh wait, one sec. Sorry, Iris. I forgot to mention you have
Oh,
1
lovely.
point of exhaustion.
That sounds about right.
Yep. Iris perpetually exhausted.
All right. Anyway, continue.
Sleepy lab scientist.
Well, I was going to suggest a celebration, perhaps, but Iris, it seems like bed might be the better
I would like
option.
to go to bed.
That's fair.
We can celebrate in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I'm down to just head back, check on
Oh.
Maury.
Could I get my screwdriver back?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, here you go.
All right, grab that back.
Wait, wasn't that your hand? What happened to it?
You watch as she grabs it back and she presses a button. Instead of like morphing into a physical hand, it will wrap around her hand, much very like very minute finger tools.
Did you guys put the case in the bag? I right? You did.
Yeah, I assumed so.
I assume we're putting it in the other bag of holding.
Well, the only one that works. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it'll be in mine for now.
Okay. Sorry. Continue. Want to make
God.
sure. Bookkeeping.
We're also all of the things that Iris had in the bag of holding. She's kind of just like holding in a paper sack, basically.
No, don't those get ejected? Like,
Yeah, they were basically scattered about the clean room. So she would have just
oh man,
grabbed them
there's a
all.
lot of rancid lemon tarts in there.
Oh, yeah. I think Iris would have just looked at those and just kind of pretended she didn't see them. She was picking them up.
And breadsticks from Tura.
Oh yeah, we're not picking those
Stale
up.
ass bread.
Well, they were corrupted, so they're like freaking gnarled, moldy, like
Oh no, those are
maggot-filled
very
items.
demonic. I'm not going to touch those.
Demonic breadsticks, all you can eat. All right, so you're heading back home or to the to your guys' what's it
I think
called?
so.
The House of Delights.
Yes.
All right, beelining it there after a crazy night, another crazy night. Or what was your guy's name again? I'd rather not.
You didn't. I'd rather
Yeah,
not.
is it I'd rather you didn't or I'd rather not?
I'd rather you didn't. I think it was.
I'd rather you didn't.
I think it was I'd rather you not.
I'd rather. It was something along those
I have
lines.
it written down. It's I'd rather you not.
Okay.
I don't think there's a U. I think it's just.
I'd rather not.
It goes both ways.
What I originally
Yeah.
said was I'd rather you not, but then it was loosely translated.
Shortened to the I'd rather
I
not.
see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the I'd rather not's another eventful night. Perfect name. I love it. Okay, you guys head out to the House of Delights. You get there. It is very busy, that street especially, for obvious reasons. But you enter into your room. Maury is fast asleep on the shag carpet. just snoring away. And that's basically it. You guys want to call it an evening?
Yeah, Iris is going to get into that room, try to find like a good, comfortable horizontal place to lay down. Okay, I'm going to shut down for a little bit.
All right. Sweet dreams, Iris. I hope they're better than the dreams you had today.
Here's hoping. She'll go through the full shutdown sequence. So
Okay.
just completely knocked out. But I think she's just gonna leave her flesh arms out at this point.
Okay.
Just to remind me, these only have like 3 fingers on them, like 3 or 4 fingers on
Yes,
them.
4.
Word. Okay.
You have
yeah,
thumbs.
she's
But 3 others.
it's like thumb, pointer, middle, and like a combined.
Yeah, and they're
Yes.
they're long, like longer than average.
Okay. Yeah, she's gonna keep those out for a while. She's too tired to give a fuck.
Anyone else doing anything?
In my room or in the love suite or whatever it's called.
Yep.
I tell me if I'm off here, but I'm imagining that there probably is some amount of like graffiti like scratched into the furniture and stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's a sleazy place.
sure. I would be looking for anything in Thieves' Cant because I can read that now.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
14.
Okay. You find, looking thoroughly in this room, on the inside of one of the drawers to one of the nightstands, there is a carving of Thieves' Cant, which leads you to find a hidden door in that drawer. And within it, you find 210 gold pieces.
Oh shit.
Dang.
You find a potion of standard healing. And you find a note. The
Yeah.
note is written to one Jane Thurmore. The guy signs it at the end. His name is Blythe, Blythe. And this is essentially like it's definitely a love note, and it's him and her, like, or it's really him basically professing his love to her, and also like, I'm trying to find the best way to word this. It's like talking about their next rendezvous,
Gotcha.
which is in this room. And you gather that, like, she comes to stay here or whoever, and they have this system of passing notes back and forth. Whoever this Blythe is.
But Jane is, like, from the note I gather, Jane is like a sex worker.
Thurmore is the name of the street in front of the church.
Oh, right. Oh, shit. I knew that would matter.
That's what you find. Anyone else doing anything?
Therathari is not in the mood for snooping.
All
Well,
right.
we're in our own room, Therathar, aren't we?
Yeah. But
We're
he's
not in the
looking-
sex orgy room.
Even still.
Off to bed with Therathari.
Yeah,
Head on pillow.
Are we sharing a room, right? Or
Yes, you and Therathari are in one room.
okay.
And
I'm
Iris.
just in deep contemplation on the bed.
Sure. Deep in your thoughts, like you normally are. Okay. So with that, we can call it an evening and move on to Friday, yeah?
Yes.
I guess, Felix, do you want to do anything else?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not. That's like fun gossip, but I'm in no shape to.
Okay, are you choosing to take those items?
I'll take the gold and the potion, but I'll leave the note.
Okay, cool.
Actually, no, I'll take the note just in case I
Yeah.
need it. It's blackmail, you know.
It is absolutely blackmail.
Great. Okay. With that, sleep binds you all easily. You all can mark off a full rest. Iris, you can mark off that exhaustion.
Hell yeah.
I think
And
nothing has happened for Therathari since the last time.
you didn't use anything? You want to just cast a spell right before you go to bed? Just to have something? You know?
Yeah, maybe.
I believe some of you have decisions to make every morning, so make sure you make those,
Yeah.
given your items. And you guys awake early in the morning. We'll call it around 8 a.m. Whole day ahead of you. And it is Friday. So Dan, are you going to send me after session?
Yeah, I'll send it to you before the next session.
You said something, Tom?
Okay, I do have something.
Sure.
So let's say Therathari wanted to try to assess the situation that they have with this scroll in a box.
Okay.
What sort of check would he be making?
What
He's
kind of
trying
a
to figure out, like,
yeah? Go on.
he's trying to think. He's like in his own head. He's trying to figure out, are they on the right path with this?
Okay. Do you want to seek your higher power for guidance in this as well, or are you? What would you like?
No, he's sticking to himself for this one.
Okay. So if you are trying to assess if you're on the right path logically, I would definitely say this is an intelligence check.
Okay. So in that case, he's going to cast before bed, because he will long rest this off. Enhance ability.
Okay.
So he's gonna have Fox's cunning for advantage on this intelligence check.
How long does this last?
Concentration up to 1 hour.
So you said you're casting this before bed?
Yeah. So because he's just gonna rest off the spell slot. That's what I mean.
Okay, so you're doing this the night prior.
The night before. Yeah. Well,
Got it.
You made a good suggestion, so I'm gonna take it.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so you sit and contemplate the path you're on. Now, just to be 100% clear, describe the path that you're currently taking, or at least you think you're taking.
Yeah. So the path is that we're looking for a temple of Ayun on the way to the Guanji Mountains to see if they have any way to deal with the scroll. Any advice, perhaps, as they are.
Okay.
And on the opposite side of theirs, and then he also wants to think about this archive path and teleporting across the continent.
Okay. Could everyone mute or deafen rather, except for Tom? Okay. Thinking about the paths that you named, one thing becomes clear to you on the path to Ayun's temple. It was described to you as a kind of crude temple from old times, which doesn't make you exactly confident they may have the knowledge and or power on deck to figure this out or handle it responsibly, despite their adverse feelings towards Thariston, naturally. But they would be more easily swayed to join your cause. The path of teleporting to the archive brings into question some questionable characters that were described to you without name. If your true motive was found out, it could potentially be hazardous to you and your true cause here. And this Professor Einhart that Jara seems to react reluctantly to also gives you a little bit of a questionable feeling. But this path, for sure, you feel confident leads you to a more adept person to deal with this problem.
Okay, that's good.
I'm back.
All right. So, with that, the day is yours. What's the plan, people? The last 10 minutes of session.
I think we head out, right?
I actually just got a really funny idea. I just got to figure out how to... Give me like a second to think.
Sure.
We go to breakfast.
Yeah, you go to breakfast and Felix is a little bit late.
Yeah, Therathari noticed that Felix was a little bit late, and he's got an idea of his own.
A lot of thinkers in this group. I like it.
So,
Mhm.
Iris, how are you feeling after last night?
Better, stranger.
That's
I'm
good.
starting to question how much of my physical form is going to be reconstituting. I'm
Why's
also
that?
starting. Not sure. Every time I have these significant visions, I regrow a portion of physicality. And as she's talking, she's like sort of like flipping back between like mechanical arm and then flipping her arms around and retracting the arm back to flesh. I'm I'm not entirely sure how this metal chassis is able to hold all of this physicality.
What do you think happens when your head goes?
I don't know.
Do you stop being Iris at that point, or
I also don't know. Um, from what I understand, what I was before was working on Iris, and then sent it off when chaos and fire was happening. So I don't know. I don't even know what me,
Uh,
that's an existential question.
so? I guess is your thought that like you, the old you who was a being, created the new you, Iris, uh, the automaton that was kind of like the plan B, like backup plan that if shit went downhill, it would like transfer consciousness to you and then shoot you out in this escape pod, and then like you would regrow a human body as you discovered who you were, and then they just take over again.
Um, I don't know. Um, I'd like to think that if I were creating a mechanical automaton to serve as a backup, um, I don't know if I would give it that level of sentience.
Do you want to like keep becoming human, or I guess I shouldn't say human, becoming a physical being instead of a mechanical one?
I'm not sure. I have somewhat of an understanding of what I used to be. Um, I also recognize that what I might have been before and what I am now are two separate entities. So I guess my primary thought is how to reconcile who is what. For all intents and purposes, I feel that we're the same person.
Do you think it's that need for reconciliation that's driving your transformation?
Um, I'm not sure.
I,
Uh,
I'm
hmm.
I'm just gonna speak, personally. I feel like my fear is as you continue to change forms, the Iris that I know will like change and disappear.
That's certainly a possibility. Um,
And that's what I'm scared of because I don't know who your past creator was or if they are in fact you or if they will become you and like take over and it's two different people.
hmm. I guess that's a question to be discovered later.
I
Um,
ultimately I just want you to be happy, like if you feel like you want to stop transforming, we could maybe work on figuring out a way to maybe stop that, or if you think this is the right direction,
hmm.
I'm here to support you.
Well, I do appreciate your support. Right now, at this juncture, I think I'm very excited to learn more about myself. The revelation of flesh, if that is not a morbid way to say that, is certainly a motivator for me to want to learn more. Um,
So you want flesh.
I don't know if I want flesh necessarily. I like the memories. The flesh that comes with it is a bonus.
a good bonus or bad? So it sounds like you want the flesh. Everything you
It's
said.
it's
positive.
weird. It's very weird. I like not having to eat or breathe or sleep.
I mean, food tastes good.
It does. I'm
saying.
able to synthesize food. I just don't require it to stay alive.
Fair.
Some people eat to live, and some people live to eat.
Jara lives to eat. Let me tell you.
I'm actually particularly curious what changes next once the rest of my arm becomes a full arm. I'm also
Well-
very curious as to how the original me managed to create an automaton that would incubate flesh like this.
I am increasingly curious about that technology as well.
This feels like something that the current world should have.
Well, let me tell you, we do not. You definitely don't exist anywhere else.
From what I understood, most automatons that exist currently are very rudimentary and artificial.
And they do not incubate flesh of any kind.
And they certainly don't incubate flesh.
What a title. Flesh incubator. All right. I saw some fingers being counted by Tony.
Yeah, Tony,
He's cooked up.
did we buy you enough time?
Yes,
I
I've
know
done the
Tom wants to do
calculations.
All right, let's hear Tony, and then we'll go to Tom.
All right, so overnight, I prepared the spell, which I've never used before, Magic
Nice.
Mouth.
Okay.
And I would like to ritual cast Magic Mouth on this letter. And the trigger will be that when the letter is found specifically by Jane.
Okay.
And when the letter is found specifically by Jane, it will say to her, I know your dirty secret. If you want to save Blythe and your reputation, have your people pay my people. Yours always, the broker.
What the fuck?
Wow.
All right.
Felix.
That is a huge, huge use of that spell, and I'm here for it.
What a move.
And that is 25 words or less.
Yeah, that was
God
24.
Damn.
Yep. That might be the play of the campaign right there.
Who
Sowing
knows?
seeds of chaos in characters you may never, ever encounter. That is a living world moment, and I really
That is
appreciate that.
wild ass shit.
I want you to know, Felix or Tony, I will run wild with that.
Please do. I hope I started a bitter rivalry.
In campaign 4, you may be dealing with the consequences of this. I make no promises, but you may be. All right, Tom. What did you cook up?
Well, it depends on how quickly Felix has made it to the breakfast table.
I would have just done that and come right down.
Okay, because on his chair he'll find, well, he won't know that it's an illusion, but it's a minor illusion on his chair. In the form of something that looks very similar to the scroll we've been dealing with, but not quite.
Oh no.
We'll see how he reacts to that.
All right. Felix, you make your way down to the breakfast table where Iris and Jara are in deep conversation.
Yeah, we're talking about
flesh incubation.
I would say all you over here is the term flesh incubation or incubating flesh and things like that. A few
Yeah,
times.
as you're coming down, you hear Iris go, I'm starting to wonder, if I manage to maintain a physical head, what happens to my regular head? Does it just crack open like an egg or something?
And
Right, that's and you know I'm
Breakfast has
thinking
got Iris
about
thinking about eggs.
I'm thinking about what happens. Like I'm assuming you have like some sort of like electronic storage system for your memories. Does that become a brain? Like what happens to those?
I'm not totally sure. I don't know if I'm incubating organs. I
Does
know
your-
that I
Guys,
can
Do you
see.
have organs?
Guys, what's
I'm
what's
not
going on here? Why is it out?
Oh,
Iris, can you put what?
And as he says that, it disappears.
what
why
happened?
Why is what out, Felix? You doing all
What
right?
happened?
Never mind. I thought
Are,
Felix,
I'm
are you
seeing
doing
things.
okay? What?
are you all right? Do we need to go back to Father Preston?
No, never mind.
What were you up to in the room, Felix? You seem distraught.
Let's just say we should get out of here today.
I
I think that was the plan, right?
I think that was the plan. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we're good.
I just stunk up the bathroom so bad. I incubated something in there.
Talk about incubating flesh in the bathroom, right?
Okay, you guys finish your breakfast meal, and we will move to the other map before we call session here. Let me clear the screen and the drawing. Okay. You guys are going. It goes in alphabetical order. It's annoying. Okay. So, you guys are obviously in deep water. Your next stop on this critical path is here. And just to give you a little taster of what that is, I will
How
bring it
long
up.
does How long would it take? Does it take us to get there?
It'll take you maybe a day or so, but day and a half maybe. But I think we're gonna kind of blaze through some of the
travel.
travel here, the filler.
So we
Okay.
have like 5 days left.
Yeah,
Would you say
yeah,
to get to Blackwalk Quarry?
correct.
Okay.
It is a place called Tillshire. I will
And
show you.
we're on time, right?
Yeah, you're currently
we're-
on time.
Running. We have 2 days to spare. I think you said
Nice.
last time.
Nice.
This is your next map,
Exciting.
Nice.
and we will pick up on the entrance to Hillshire. Or Tillshire, excuse me.
Hey,
All right,
Hillshire Farms.
that's right.
go meet.
Go meet sponsor.
Go flesh.
Go flesh.
Meat incubators. All right, that's it. Great session tonight. I'll message about next Monday.
Excellent. Good work.
Looking
today.
forward to it.
That was super fun.
It was.
That was a good one.
All right, take care, guys.
I like
Oh.
the character of Zima. It might be my favorite NPC so far.
Zima's very fun.
Yeah, Zima's
Like Therathari would pay her a visit just for shits.
Just to
Just to enjoy her company.
just
yeah,
so she
just
could
to chat.
degrade you, basically,
Yeah.
and forget your name.
You gotta
Felix.
give it back to her. You gotta zing her back. Then she respects you.
Yeah, then she does respect.
Is that what Jara thinks?
She got my name right afterwards.
That's true.
All right, until next time. Thanks, guys.
right.
Yes,